Hey y'all, it's your girl Kashan Kikito. Welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe so you know catch these vibes and turn on my post notification so you get notified every time I pick the post, child. That is a mouthful. Calling you slice on this video, but that's a whole nother story. Speaking of stories, let's go ahead and get into the story time with your favorite nigga reader. Okay, so we're gonna take it back to when I was renting a room or whatever, right? And my roommate at the time had a pit bull named Shelly. Hey Shelly. And I absolutely adored Shelly, okay? She was a big, like, fluffy pit, and she loved hers to me, and I loved me some her. And I remember one time in specific, I took her on a walk, and I took her down there, and, like, we walked some blocks, and she laid there and did not get up. And I literally had to pick her up and, like, try to carry her back, and Shelly was heavy, okay? And carry her back because she literally refused to, like, get up. And this one time in specific, this is when I still had my husky, and I went to go walk her, and when I opened the door, there was a lady, like, who was, like, in front of the steps with, like, a small dog, and she was just standing there. So I had the door open. It's just cracked or whatever, right? But I have the door open waiting for her to walk by because she's looking at me, and I'm looking like, girl, get from in front of my house so, like, I can walk my dog. I'll go in the other direction, but, like, I need you. Why did you stop right here with your little fluffy fluff? Well, what I didn't know at the time was Shelly didn't like small dogs, okay? So Shelly's all the way in the back. I mean, like, the back of the living room. And again, I didn't know she didn't like small dogs because it was just never told to me and never had any issues. Well, this one time in specific, out of nowhere, and this is why I was irritated, that lady was just standing there. Shelly goes through, she literally busts through my legs, almost knocked me over, pushed Cocoa out the way, right? And went and attacked the small dog. And I mean, literally vice grip, and it's shaking, literally shaking the dog so much. And I'm freaking out because I'm like, what do I do? I've never seen a dog attack another dog, okay? And I literally, like, teeth inside, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So I'm screaming, literally I'm screaming, and I'm not even like an abusive, like, person, like, at all, but, like, especially not to animals. I love animals, but I'm literally kicking Shelly because I'm trying to get Shelly to loosen the grip so we can get this other dog off. The lady's screaming. My other roommate at the time, like, she is upstairs and she comes running down and she's helping me get Shelly off because later on her and I had a conversation. She's like, when I heard that scream, I knew exactly what it was because apparently, she's experienced something like this before as well. Well, that lady took her dog to the vet or whatever and, like, came back. And I remember, like, one time we were next to an alley, so she parked down the alleyway. And I was, like, walking out my house, getting ready to, like, go somewhere. I don't know, I was getting ready to walk to the car. And instantly, like, she said something and, like, called me over. And I was like, oh, my gosh. Like, I'm talking to her, whatever. And she was, like, she thought I was the owner. She was trying to get in contact with the owner because, there's an issue with, obviously, like, she wanted to serve the owner with the paperwork to pay for the vet bill and all that kind of stuff. And I was just like, oh, I'm not the owner. I'm just the roommate, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm looking in the car, and the dog is completely shaved and have these plugs and, like, all the holes that, like, Shelly bit, and I'm sitting in a cone, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is traumatizing, right? So I have a conversation with my roommate or whatever, it's a thing, and the police told her that, like, if it happens again, then, like, they would have to put her, or not necessarily put her down, but, like, take her away to, like, somewhere else because apparently this is the second time she's done this. Again, none of this was told to me. I did sometimes have an issue though when Shelly and Coco were playing because Shelly would grab Coco's collar very, very tight and pull on it. It was a collar on her neck. So I did stop letting them play together, like, for that reason. Or I would just take Coco's collar off if they were, like, around the house. But sometimes, I don't know. I didn't think anything of it because of that. I really didn't think anything of it. But there was a point in time where I was just like, not wanting to leave the house for a second. And just, like, I'm getting ready to move stuff, all the stuff that I'm doing. Because every single time I opened up the door, this lady was standing outside the door waiting to talk to the owner about Shelly. And I was just like, lady, I told you I'm just a roommate. But at this point, now you're badgering me and you're making me feel uncomfortable. Granted, I understand the situation and it's very sad. It's very traumatizing. I am so, so, so very sorry. But it's just like, oh my gosh. Now, mind you, again, I was getting ready to move, so I was so happy to just move because I didn't have to deal with that lady badgering me every single time I walked out of the, out of the door. And that was really just like the main thing is I didn't really have any issues with my roommate. She did makeup and she wanted to practice on black girls, so like I let her practice on me. I absolutely adored Shelly. I loved her 2 children. Like when I did move, there was a fish that I left the young one. I had a conversation. She said she, liked the fish, and I told her she could have it when I left. Like, I didn't have any issues, like, outside of the one time she did give some random person a key to her home, and, like, that lady was like, oh, I locked the door. I was like, girl, I live here. What do you mean you locked the door? How did you get it? Weird stuff like that. That's a whole nother story. But out of, like, a small situation like that, there was really no issues. Like, well, there was a time where I was cooking for my friends, and I was making dinner for them, and we were eating or whatever, and I had left some spaghetti in the skillet, and we were upstairs, and I guess she felt some type of way that I didn't include her in the girls' night or whatever. And so when I came downstairs, she had put the skillet with extra food in the sink with water, and I was just like, girl, there was still some left in there. Oh, I didn't know. So it was just like, don't touch my food. Don't touch my food. Okay, and especially with all the situation stuff I'm going through now, it's just like, if you know me, I don't like that. So that was towards the beginning of me moving there. So I did have kind of like a little attitude. Sorry, I just dug my nose with her, like because of that. But eventually, like things were cool and like we were fine. So I didn't really have a lot of issues outside the ones I just explained. It wasn't like it was a bad time. I had a really great experience there. Yeah, and when when I was living there, I ended up losing Dallas, which is my Yorkie, and I was like really sad or whatever, and I had left some clothes in the laundry, and her and her daughter like folded them for me and left it outside my door, and I went and put a little note on it, and I thought that was really sweet. But again, like I said, we didn't have any issues. Like she was very caring and stuff like that. But that situation was just it was too much. It was way too much. So, I hope Shelly's okay. I hope she's okay. But that situation was